In this video, we're gonna cover 3 common ways to make for loops in Bash and give some real-world examples that most new Bash programmers are searching for that will help you get more confidence when using for loops. Hey, it's Neilin here from Stacks Add Up, where I help you learn the technology stacks more efficiently with online video. If you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button. And if you're seeing value in this video, give me a thumbs up as well. It really makes a huge difference. You can find all the links to everything I mentioned in this video in the description box below. Let's jump into it. I will break the content into 3 parts. The first is getting to know what we can do with for, so that you can have a big picture of this tool. Next comes the syntax, introducing the key elements to create a for loop. And then it's examples. You'll see some usual ways to use for loops to solve problems. Okay, let's see the first part, the usage of for. The for is a tool that we can loop through a list of files, names, a number, an array, etc., and perform a set of operations on them to finish a bigger job. Let's see some examples to get this idea. Often you have a list of IDs or names to process with, so you can take them to make new API requests like this. Here we can see we've got user IDs at the second line. So we give the for those IDs and use the tool curl to make HTTP calls. Don't worry about the syntax now, we'll see them soon. Just focus on all the ways the for can help. Sometimes like this, you have a bunch of machines to maintain. Here we do the same thing again by giving the for loop their IPs and remotely running the command on those hosts. The following example is kind of a bit more complicated. Take it easy though, we're not gonna go that deep this time. This for loop uses a technique called file name expansion to search specific files, and then take those matched files, one file at a time, to print out their names and modification times for further processing. These few examples should give you a high-level view of what for can do. So now, it's time to head over to the syntax. The syntax of for contains 2 major elements, input and process. For input, Bash needs you to give it a list of words to look through, and then it will process them by executing the commands you provide in the body part. Okay, we now know 2 elements to take care of when creating a for loop. Let's go a bit deeper. First is the input. Sometimes we know each word's value ahead of time, so we can just pass those words to for. Other times, we will use the techniques like expansion or substitution to generate words instead. The next one is the process. After giving the words, we can start writing some codes by calling the Linux built-in commands or third-party programs to achieve the bigger job we want. Now, take a look at the actual syntax of for. First, we write down the keyword for, and then a name variable. In each turn of for loop iteration, the Bash will pick one value sequentially from the words you gave and assign it to the name variable. You can rename the name variable to fit its purpose to make it more readable. Next comes the words. As I said before, this is a place to provide the input to the for loop. After that, it's a comma, then the keyword do. Follows the commands block to put all the process codes here to process with the name variable. Finally, the done keywords here tells the Bash it's the end of our for loop block. Actually, there is another syntax that is very similar to the C-style loop, though I'm not gonna talk about it because it's barely used on a day-to-day basis. Now, let's see some more examples. I will show you some common ways to give the words, including providing the words directly or using expansion and substitution techniques to generate words. All the example files shown here can be found on my GitHub repository. You can find the link in the description box below. Let's say we've got some student scores like this in CSV format. And there is a total of 3 classes, and we want to list each student's name and their final grades. So how could we use the for loop to do this? Because we know the number of classes, and they are not too much, we can just type the file names directly like this. So now, let's go write some real codes. After we give the file names as input to the for loop, we should first check whether we did the things right. I mean, printing the file name out to see if they are the ones we will process. My habit is to put my pants on one leg at a time, not jump to the end too quickly, so that most of the time I can have a more smooth coding flow and the debugging won't take up too much time. Let's run this script now. And yes, it prints the file names as we expected. So we can go to the next step. Now we use the cat command to print out the file content. And we can see there's a header line in each file that we actually don't need. So we add another text processing command set to cut out that line. And rerun the script. And yes, those headers are gone. Next, we're gonna use the awk command to print student names. Because those CSV files use commas to separate columns, we need to give an extra option -f to tell the awk how to parse them. And then the awk mini program. What we want to do here is to print the first column, the student's name. Let's see the current result. Yes, we've got names. So the final step is to print the grades out, which is the last column. In awk, it's a particular variable called $NF. Let's see the final result. Okay, it's done. And if you want to do one more step to pretty the output, you can pipe the for result to a program called column, like this. Pretty nice. Sometimes when there are more than a few items to list, a better way is to use a batch feature called expansion. Batch has reserved some characters for this purpose. I will only show you some of them because they can meet our goal exactly. Too much of them will just get you confused. Soon we'll see two common types, brace expansion and file name expansion. Okay, now let's first see brace expansion. Here we took those CSV files from the last example. We can rewrite the above for loop like this. We put the prefix class here, and then a left brace. Next is the beginning number 1, followed by 2 dots, then the end number 3. Finally is the extension. In the body part, I just print the file name out to see if everything's okay. And yes, we got the same files. Another way is to use file name expansion. And there are 3 types of characters we can choose from. First, we'll see the question mark. A question mark can match any single character. In our case, we have just 1 digit, so 1 question mark is enough, like this. Here we go, the same result. If you have more than 1 characters to match, you can choose the star. A star can match any string, even if it's an empty string. So it may list files like class.csv, class1.csv, class123.csv, etc. Did the same thing too. The final character type is the brackets. Although it's very like brace expansion, they do have differences. If you're interested in them, please leave comments below. Here you only need to put a dash between those 2 numbers like this. all roads lead to Rome. Bash provides a way to directly replace a command with its output, which acts like another program's or command's input. It's called command substitution. Here we head over to a built-in program sec, which can produce a sequence of number we want. If I type sec5, it will output 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, since we have 3 files, sec3 is enough. Let's put a command into a substitution format. We first type 4 and the variable I, then in, and then the $ left parentheses, sec3, right parentheses, and we echo the file names with the variable I. Run the script. And yes, the same 3 files. So let's review what we have learned today. We now know for loop is a tool to repeat a set of operations to finish a bigger job. And it has 2 key elements when creating a for loop. The first one is giving a list of words as input. The second one is using commands to process those words. And we saw some real examples of for loops. There are 3 common ways to give words: giving words directly, using expansions, and substitution. Hope this can help you have more ideas to create your own loops. Do you feel that you got a lot of value from this video? If so, what did you get out of it? Please leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Now, if you're interested in checking out more tips as well, then I put together a PDF guide that is linked in the description box below. This runs through the most common questions that can help you save time on debugging and spend more time creating values. Make sure you're grabbing your free copy of my guide, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy stacking!